Hi there everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now today's video for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia is yet another Should You Pull episode, and today we're going to be talking about Zack EX as well as his banner mates in Layle and Laguna. Now Zack is a character I know a lot of people are excited for multiple reasons. He's a really popular character from arguably one of the most popular games in the Final Fantasy franchise, and I mean FF7. And he's also just an extremely strong character that a lot of people have been looking forward to. People who play the JP version of this game especially are going to be very excited to pick up Zack. But there are a few things working against Zack in this particular time period for Global that may ward you away from Zack and may make you think about possibly pulling for him later. So whether Zack is going to be worth pulling for you, we'll say stay tuned and keep on watching, and we'll go through everything there is to know about Zack, Laguna and Layle, while we can kind of work out what it is about it that makes him special, and also what's around the corner that might knock him off the top spot pretty quickly. As always, don't forget to check out all of the social links in the description box below, including my Discord channel, my Twitch channel, which I have a nice regular schedule for, so if you want to come and watch me play Dissidia, Opera Omnia and multiple other things, then check out the schedule on the right hand side here, as well as my Patreon for all early access videos. Don't forget to check out DissidiaDB.com, where it's the perfect resource for checking out anything you want to know about any particular character, and I use it for all of my Should You Pull videos. And of course, don't forget to check out all of the other Opera Omnia content creators out there, as everyone works really hard on their channels, and I encourage you to go and support every single one of us. So as usual, before we move on to the main event of the banner, we do want to cover the two extra characters that are going to come with Zack, and the first of which is going to be Laguna. Laguna's a nice little character to have. He's nothing too special on the debuff front, like that's his primary role, but if you don't have access to a lot of the best debuff characters, so your Sarahs, your Kefkas, etc., he's not a bad character to have. His shotgun and grenade are both debuffing AoE sort of equipped abilities. Grenade will reduce speed and defense and do AoE damage, and it will do a slightly more if you have his 15 CP weapon. And then shotgun is a brave HP attack if you have his 35 CP weapon that inflicts attack down, and also raises max brave for your party. So he's kind of like a momentum swingy character, similar in vein to Tidus, but on a smaller scale across your whole party. So he is a nice character to have if you happen to get both of his weapons, and particularly if you happen to have his World of Illusions weapon, the Hellblow gun, which gives him a party aura. Then he's not a bad little character to have. He doesn't have an EX weapon yet. He will get one, and he'll get a rework soon enough. It shouldn't be too long. Maybe a month or two before we see Laguna's rework in EX, at which point he does become significantly better. But if you manage to pick him up, he'll help you like doing quick farms and stuff like that. He's not going to take on any Cosmos level difficulty stuff, but he's going to be pretty good just to have hold of. And then of course the other character on this banner before Zack is going to be Layle. Now Layle is a really cool character to have hold of. He was like the premier damaged like kind of team focused unit. Like loads of people built their teams around Layle in the late 35 CP era due to his ability to launch characters. It was sort of like the early EX era even. He was really powerful, and he's still useful now. He's actually a character I really like having for Shiva as a friend unit, as an alternative to Cloud and Quistis. I think that he's actually quite useful for that because he has the capability to launch opponents regularly so that you can get to your summons quicker, as well as inflicting delays and speed downs and things like that. He's kind of like a smaller scale Quistis, like somewhere between Quistis and Cloud, but he's disruptive for turns, so that can be really useful for cheesing a lot of content. But his field burst inflicts force, which makes it so their chase HP, as it were, which is like a hidden value to know how much damage they have to take in order to initiate a launch, is gonna, it makes it so it's easier to get a chase basically. And then energy gain is a brave HP attack that inflicts a delay if you have his 35 CP weapon, and also is a brave battery at the same time, which is obviously great because if you're launching your opponent, then the other two characters want their bravery up so that you can do more HP damage. And the main focus for this is if you want to do something quickly, then getting a summon quickly is really useful. So having something delay, having something that can delay a unit through the energy gain extend while initiating a chase seek, which makes it easier for other characters to get their piece in when they're trying to do part of the chase. It's just useful to have, and then obviously being a Brave Battery at the same time is really nice. And not only that, but when you use Field Burst after getting his 55 CP passive, you get Brave Attack Plus, which is a party Brave attack basically, so everyone gets Bravery when he hits them. You get little debuffs here and there, and he gets a nice little buff when he uses Energy Field Burst. So while he's not groundbreaking, he's certainly not up there with the best of them anymore. He's still a good character to get hold of. So if you're pulling for Zack and you get Layle stuff and you don't already have it, it's a nice little extra. So now we come to the main event of the banner, and that's going to be Zack and his EX weapon. Zack, by definition, is a damage-dealing tank unit, which is very unusual within the game. We only really have one other, or a couple of other tanks in the game, so your Warrior of Lights, your Gallifs, people like that. But Zack comes at it from a very different angle, and his level 60 Awakening in EX overhauls him so hard that he gets really a very overloaded kit from what he can do, and it makes him significantly better. Obviously, he's one of the last level 50 characters that we had before the level 60 era came about, but now that the level 60 era comes to Zack, it makes a huge difference to his kit. So his main attacks are Chain Slash and Rush Assault, which are both attacks that do more damage if the opponent is targeting Zack. Now, so obviously, a lot of Zack's kit is going to inflict the Provoke debuff or the Lock debuff. So if you have both of Zack's regular weapons, so his 15 CP and his 35 CP, then Chain Slash will inflict Provoke. But not only that, but when you use Chain Slash, which is now a Brave HP attack that regenerates some of his bravery after he hits with the attack, which means he's not going to immediately get broken straight away, he also gets Brave Attack Plus, which is a much stronger Brave attack, but it also keeps up the Lock debuff, so that the enemy is constantly targeting Zack, and that's actually really strong, because if they're only targeting Zack, it means they're not targeting your other guys, and you can manipulate the fight that much better. He also gets a party buff, which is really nice. He gets buff attack and boost all, which is max brave and attack to everybody while he's buffed, and he'll always be buffed, because both of his abilities give him buffs. And then Rush Assault turns into a 3 times brave HP attack, so think similar in the vein to Setzer's red card. You'll get like multiple brave HP attacks, which is actually really good, because if he's already got a lot of bravery through support units and stuff like that, he's not leaking bravery anywhere near as much as he would be if he was only doing 1 brave HP attack. And then, yet again, he also converts some of the HP damage that he deals into bravery, so he can keep some of his bravery after he's used it, and then that's going to stop him from getting broken quite so easily. But he also gets an HP attack plus, which does a very similar sort of thing to his other skills. It gives him more bravery after he's dealt damage. He raises his bravery and then does the HP attack, and then he gets some of the bravery back based on how much damage he deals. So because of his Brave Attack Plus and his HP Attack Plus, he actually gets a heck of a lot of longevity where a lot of characters just don't have it. And he's got some insanely good stats across the board because of some of his his level 50 ability, which raises max bravery and attack if his HP was maxed when the battle starts. So I'll come to this one in a minute when I talk about his artifacts, but he gets a lot out of his 55 and 60 CP passives and his 15 and 35 CP weapon, and we haven't even started talking about his EX yet. So Zack's EX weapon is good. Really good. Apocalypse is an incredibly powerful attack that gives Zack something very unique to him that really elevates his power. So it's a 6-hit AoE Brave HP attack where it's divided equally, which is fine. It's not like super powerful or anything as an attack, but it's still got 150% overflow, which is amazing, because if he's already got max bravery, he's going to do more damage than he should. It provokes all enemies for 4 turns, which is fantastic because everyone's looking at him and targeting. But the thing you really want to be looking at with this thing is the Brave Barrier. So what Brave Barrier does is it nullifies all damage he takes, for bravery damage he takes, if the damage that it would have been dealt to him is under 150% of his initial bravery. And if the damage goes over that, then the Brave Barrier takes 150% of his initial bravery off of that, and then it deals the damage to him. It's only ever dispelled if it's broken. So what that means is if Zack, say, has 2,000 initial bravery, an attack comes in for less than 3,000 damage, it straight up does nothing to him. Does nothing. If an attack comes in that deals 3,001 damage, it's going to take 1 damage off of him, and then the rest is soaked up by the barrier. So that it means that, obviously, on top of the fact that he's already doing a fairly large amount of damage, because all of his attacks are brave HP attacks, and he's recovering his bravery while he's doing it, so it's harder to break him, he's now making it so that everybody's targeting him, and it's very difficult for him to take damage at all. Quite frankly, I mean, it can be done. It's very difficult, but it can be done. If you get the right initial bravery, artifacts and stuff, if you really want to push it, and you take Selfie for her barrier, and Lena to raise his initial bravery, you can make some really interesting strats where you just don't take damage. If you can get Zack's initial bravery to 6666, then nothing can deal brave damage to him while he's got his brave barrier up, which is insane. The only reason that I would even remotely hesitate to pull on this character is because Warrior of Light will be coming out probably the end of next month, possibly even the end of this month, or it's going to be quite soon, where he's going to get his level 70 awakening, and he's going to get a rework which really makes him a complete powerhouse. Warrior of Light becomes one of the best characters in the game for a long time, until he's overtaken by Zack later on with his EX+, which I'll get to in a moment. And it's just like this battle of the tanks between Zack and Warrior of Light. So whether you pull for Zack or not, I'm going to spoil a bit of the video here. He's an extraordinary character. He really is, both now and later down the line. So yeah, I think he's a great character to pull on. But if you already have Warrior of Light EX, Zack's shelf life might not be as amazing as you hope it is, because Wall will kind of come in and take a lot of the burden from him. He doesn't completely take Zack out, because Zack is a more offensive-based tank, whereas Warrior of Light is a more defensive-based one. But Warrior of Light can cover your entire party in shields, whereas Zack provokes everything, takes it on towards himself, and he makes it so that it's harder for them to hurt him. So there are going to be some bosses where Zack actually does better than Warrior of Light, even after Warrior of Light gets his awakening, but there's going to be a large number of times where Warrior of Light just has a better time protecting the party and doing the job that you need him to do. This story changes, however, when it comes to Zack's EX+. Now, Zack does return, not for a fairly long while yet, but he does come back with Ignis, and I'll come to that and I'll show you guys the banner for that in a moment. And his EX Plus is extraordinarily overloaded, to the point where he is arguably the best character in the entire game, certainly at this point in JP. He is so powerful that practically every team uses him. He gets more Max Brave overflow limit with Apocalypse, and it's already at 150%. It restores his HP, it becomes an AoE attack that does multiple HP Brave attacks. It gives him bravery back after he uses it, so just like his other abilities, he gains all his bravery and HP back when he uses it. And then he gets more Brave Overflow on all of his attacks when he uses it. He gets Brave Attack ++, he gets Brave Attack, HP Attack ++, which has Brave Overflow. And he also gets it so that if he would die, if he's above 50% HP, straight up just doesn't kill him. So he's got HP regen at the beginning of the fight as well. He's got... I should have noted as well when I mentioned his other abilities. He gets a HP Max Brave buff by 100%. So when he uses, I believe it's the Rush attack, he gets 100% Max Bravery from that as well. And so he just becomes an absolute powerhouse. The only thing that concerns me when it comes to saving for Zack as opposed to pulling for him now, because there are going to be people that want to take that route as well, because they might be saving for Vayne, they might have spent on Sarah, is that I believe that there's going to be the next tier of weapon come out for JP fairly soon, and I reckon that one of the first characters that's going to get it is going to be Warrior of Light. So is Zack just going to get written off by Warrior of Light again? And that makes me wonder. But that is pure conjecture. That is pure conjecture on my part. Don't let that take away from how powerful this character actually is. Warrior of Light comes in and is just as powerful, if not more so, each time he comes out. But to have Zack and Warrior of Light on the same level, or on differing levels, so like Zack's superpowered, then Warrior of Light's superpowered and overtakes him, then Zack overtakes him again, then Warrior of Light overtakes him again. They're both extremely powerful units that get a great amount of benefits from their reworks and ability awakenings and all sorts of their EX weapons, EX pluses. They get so much out of their kit that having both of them, one that's more offensively geared and one that's more defensively geared, is like having Lena and Sarah. It means you've got the right tank for the right situation, and that's not a bad thing. A quick note on Zack's artifacts. There are actually two ways you can go about Zack's artifacts. You can do what I spoke about earlier, and you can try and make it so that the initial bravery is as high as physically possible for the sake of making his shield through his EX ability that much stronger. But, you know, the defenses of enemies are so high right now that honestly I would also consider giving him as much attack as physically possible for two reasons. If defense is really high, he needs to be dealing damage. He's a damage dealing tank. If you aren't dealing the damage, he's going to run out of steam long before the enemy's dead. You're not getting the turn efficiency that you need. But at the same time, if you want the defenses, then the initial bravery is there for you to kind of pile it all on for that. But you've also got the fact that the bravery that Zack gains back from all of his abilities depends on how much damage he deals. So obviously the higher his attack is, the more damage he deals, and therefore the more bravery he gets back. So there's two different ways to go about it on that front, but one thing I will say is getting Soldier's Grit boosted up as high as you physically can is really good. There's a lot of artifacts like Soldier's Grit where it's raising your stats depending on whether you're at max HP at the start of the last wave, but not many of them boost your maximum bravery by 15% per artifact. That is massive. In combination with the other things that he gets, you get this like attacking, you get max bravery and attack out your backside. He has a party aura for max brave and attack already, so his max bravery is going to be massive, and he's already dealing a half decent amount of damage, if not a massive amount. And he's not even designed to be a damage dealer. He's meant to be a tank and make everyone attack him. He makes characters like Snow cry, because this is what a tank should look like. So looking at times that you'd be able to pull for Zack, there are a couple of other times that you'll be able to pull for him. So not long after Realm EX and Alphino come out, and Aphmau, there's a banner just here that you could look into to pull for Zack there that comes along with other side, but this is like a temporary banner. We may not get the same thing as JP for this, so don't take that one as gospel. But then the next one down that you're going to want to look forward to is going to be with Ignis, and that's when Zack's EX Plus comes about. Honestly, I think it's going to be really difficult to tell when to pull for Zack, but to be honest, you're gonna want to grab this character at some point, whether it's now or later. I do also believe that when the EX shop comes around in JP, which is another similar sort of thing to the weapon token system we have now, but for EX weapons, when it's much later down the line, then I do believe that Zack's EX weapon does turn up in the second wave of weapons that come out, so that might be an option as well. But I do believe that at some point you are going to want this weapon, regardless, because as you can see, just looking quickly at Ultima, which is the Japanese sort of resource for Opera Omnia, the newest characters here are Hope, Lightning, and Shadow, and they give a character a score out of 100. So 96 is good, 94 is slightly less good, 92 is slightly less good. And then from that point onwards, Zack is the only character on this website to still have 99 out of 100. They consider him the strongest character in the game. So you'll notice that Vayne's actually not far below him either. So this next week is going to be heavy on all of our gem. I imagine it's just going to be hard to pick one or the other or both. So again, I'm spoiling the end of the video, but Zack is an incredible character at multiple times in his lifespan. It's just a case of when you want to pull for him, not if. So looking at the banner as a whole, do I think that Zack EX is worth pulling for? It's no secret to anybody that I've basically just sung Zack's praises over and over and over again. So yes, absolutely, I think this banner is worth pulling on. Laguna and Layle aren't terrible characters if you don't already have access to them, but Zack is really quite extraordinary. If you have Warrior of Light's EX already, and you really like Ignis, you could wait until that banner comes around to pull on him. But if my theory is correct in that the next kind of level of weapon starts to come out for JP fairly soon, then Ignis isn't massively high at the top of the tier list for JP, so you could go without him and pull for Zack now and not worry about it. I'm actually under the impression at the moment that I'm wanting to get some of these characters now so that I don't have to pull for them in EX Plus era, and then therefore I may not have to pull that much in EX Plus era at all. I'm only really looking at Ultimecia and Emperor as characters, and possibly Yuri as characters that I definitely have to have during that era. And then there are so many older characters that do so well in that era that you might not have to pull very much at all if you're really wanting to save as much resources as you can. But Zack is an extraordinary character. Right now, he's amazing, all the way up until Warrior of Light comes out with his rework, and even beyond that, he's still not useless even after Warrior of Light, but having them side by side would be amazing. And then he gets completely busted in half again when his EX Plus comes around, because he just does everything, massive amounts of damage, and doesn't die. You can't ask for a character that's better than that. I think he's an extraordinary character, and while Vayne is coming out on Thursday and is also an exceptional character, it all depends on what resources you have. Pick one or the other and go all in on them, because you're going to want one of these two, if not both, if you can help it. They're both extremely good characters. So is Sarah, who we've just had. I already said in my last video that Sarah was well worth pulling on as well. This is a difficult month for our gems, I'm not going to lie to you all, so I wish everybody who pulls on Zack the best of luck. And again, later on the week, obviously I'm going to do another video for Vayne as well. But I really hope everyone who wants Zack does really well for him. I really hope that he's nice to me. Although I'm probably going to pull for Vayne first when he comes out. I say that, I don't have the most willpower. I probably will end up spending some tickets on Zack anyway, because I want it. But you've got to kind of just really hope to get at least one of these, because they're going to carry you for a very long time. Anyways, thank you ever so much for tuning into the video. I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I hope all of the videos that I make are helpful to you in picking who to pull for and why to pull for them, etc, etc. As I said, don't forget to check out all my social links, check out all the other Opera Omnia content creators, DissidiaDB.com, Twitch, all that good stuff. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications for a new video when it comes out. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye!